Hi, very good afternoon to you. It's Dean from maverickstar Observatory. Doing a little experiment here just to see how it goes down. I'm going to mention the word climate in the title of this video, and you might see, or maybe not, let's just wait and see, you might see this little banner appear from the United Nations talking about climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns mainly caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels. We're going to have a little look at the United Nations and we're going to see what they're saying, and then we're going to have a look into the true facts of what's going on. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's a stealth tax. They're not directly telling you that they are taking money from you anywhere in the world today with regards to, when it comes down to money and climate, you're paying for it. Trust me, if the government are giving out hundreds of millions of pounds in grants for companies to become more greener, take on more greener projects like building more efficient wind turbines, more efficient solar fields, you're paying for it. And there's no need for it. That's the big thing. There's no need for it. And we are in a lot of trouble. Before we go any further, you know what? I have got a lot of respect for those few people the other day that chipped in a few bucks. We do something special twice a month now on this channel, and we've been doing it now for at least 6 months. Every month we've been taking a reading twice a month, but before that we was doing it every month, and we're keeping a track on the magnetic North Pole. This is something else that just completely evades public awareness, and it's not good for us to be, or the majority of us to be, kept in the dark on these subjects, because if the majority of us was informed, I'm talking about the other 98% that don't know a couple of things. They don't know what the real causes of climate change are. They don't know the Earth is going through a magnetic reversal, and they don't most likely are aware of the truth behind all this. And that's what we want to do. We want to focus on the truth, and we want to point them out where they're lying. So just stay tuned to this video and we'll get through it. And I understand that everybody has a way of learning, and sometimes it's not the same as everybody else, and that's why I go over these videos a few times, so that everybody is on board and understands the lies that are taking place and nothing short of the crime that is taking place. And it mainly stems from this unelected government body now known as the United Nations. We have another one of these here, over in Europe, the European Community, or the UN, the United Nations. You know what? These are, groups of countries where governments funnel money left, right and centre into this. And I've got to say this is organised crime. We're dealing with the mafia on a massive scale. And the reason why I want to show you how hard they come down, in this video, by just using the word climate in the title, they slap this tag on there to try and brainwash people of their version of the truth. It's disgraceful what's going on in this world. I really don't know, just diverting a little bit off the topic, I don't know what people are going to do. British Telecom, it was not even owned anymore by the British. I think it's a French company that own it, but they're going to lay off 50,000 out of the 80,000 people they employ, and they're going to replace that with artificial intelligence. Guys, you're going to see this happen across the board, and the problem is with this is that we live and participate in this capital system, and it's this system that requires us to exchange our labour, which is one of the only ways we can obtain money, our labour, so that we can get some money, so that we can pay our bills. And they don't seem to give a flying F. I won't say the word because I know that there probably is some mums in the background with the kids sat at the table, but you can understand my anger in what's going on. They don't care. Before we get into this, I just want to finish off on that point. What I'm talking about is when there's no jobs left and the population goes uncontrollably producing more people into this world. We're at nearly 8 billion now, but the jobs are going quicker than you can imagine. There is going to come a point where nobody is going to have a job because of the technological advancement that which we're in. You not see the crystal ball that's put in before you. I'm telling you now that if you are one of these people that use the self-checkout machines in supermarkets, you are taking another person's job away from them. You're taking the cashier's job away from them. Look what they've done, guys. They are, in order to save money and make themselves look more profitable to the stockholders and the shareholders of these companies, they are cutting back on labour costs. And you know what? If we carry on turning a blind eye to this, it will come at our doors without a shadow of a doubt. It is going to affect you. If you think that some smart, intelligent individual is not working on artificial intelligence to remove your job from you right now, you're wrong, because that is exactly what's going on. I had this conversation with a friend years ago, and we sat down with the skill sets that we've got. We said we could itemize or mechanically produce anything in this world, and we could do away with human beings completely. McDonald's will eventually cotton onto this, and you will have a machine which will make that burger much better than the human being does right now. And you will go up to the selection screen, you will choose what you want, a machine will make it, and then you will move along to pay. And you'll only be able to do that for as long as you have the means to obtain money through exchanging for your labour. The only other way you're going to get money is steal it or claim benefits. And you know what sort of life that offers? It's rubbish. Because if you look at what they pay benefits, just here in the UK, it's about £400. If you look at how much the rent is, the council tax, I nearly said poll tax, but they don't call it that no more, do they? Council tax, £123 a month, depending on what band you're in. You're going to live on £400 a month. You've got to pay your electric. If you live in a car predominant area like I do, you would have to pay to own a car, and that would take your money completely away from you. You'd have nothing left, and that's what they've done right now. People are starving. People with reasonable jobs are still going to the food bank. We have those horrible people that drive an £80,000 car going to the food banks because they know that they can get something for nothing, and yet they do. And let's face it, everybody likes something for nothing, don't they? And we have a lot of those people here on this channel. They come along, they are thick-skinned, they don't chip in, they don't contribute nothing, they just take. And the world is full of them. I've seen the levels at which some people will go to, like cutting out little vouchers of newspapers. They will sit there at the end of the week cutting out all these little vouchers, and they will take them to the cashier if there's one left in the supermarket, and they will hand over a handful of these vouchers for 2p off this, 4p off this, 20p off that, and what they're saving, a couple of quid. But that's the level that people will go to today to save a couple of pounds. That's how bad it must be really bad for some people. Other people are just quite clearly left on the street. Anyhow, I'm going off on a massive tangent. I know you agree with what I'm talking about is absolutely wrong, and unless we do something about organisations like the United Nations and their lies, then things aren't going to get better. If you keep giving the heroin addict heroin, he's never going to resolve his problems or his issues. So, at the moment, these pigs at the trough are going to keep filling up the pockets and the bank accounts with your money until they are exposed at what they are. And that is clearly organised mafia and crime syndicates. That's what we've got running our governments now. You should not be under the influence that it is not the case. Listen, it doesn't matter what government we look at. It could be ministers in the UK, it could be the politicians, the senators in the United States. How do they raise their money to become where they are? Through corporate funding. That can be, the world's war and bombs manufacturers. or it can be, your Nestle's and your other big companies, the ones I'm on about. But unless they're exposed and tarred with the same brush of what these self-elected officials in United Nations, the European Union, unless they are shamed for what they're doing, they're going to carry on doing it, guys. And you're going to have to keep believing that since the 1800s, human activity has been the main driver of climate, because that is BS. BS on another scale. They only want to take the climate records back to the 1800s. Well, let's just have a look at the next one. And this just proves what sort of people we're dealing with, and how lame they are at even presenting a reasonable argument to support their claims. But nevertheless, whether they've got a good argument or not, you will still pay for what they say is causing these effects. You will still pay for it. These are the sorts of charts they use to justify what they're saying, and certainly when you look at a chart that looks like this, you would think, oh my goodness me, they're right. Since the 1900s, temperature has increased, but look how much it's increased by. First of all, if we start from just the 1900s, or just a little bit beyond, say 1910, we can see that it's at the bottom. What is the temperature that has changed? Look, we're at -4%. And then if we go to the other extreme of this chart, we can see that it's at 0.8%. So it's only increased, a little under 1%, or 1 Celsius in this case. So what do you think of that? It's crazy, isn't it? But it's not presenting an argument to support their case, because first of all, if you're only going to look at 200 years history of climate, that's what you're going to see. But is it human beings? That's the question. Is it human beings that is driving the climate? Let's just show you one more chart. Well, I think all the information's there. You don't really need me to point it out. But have a look at the present global warming on this chart, right at the end there, at the right hand side. And then just go back a little bit to the medieval warm period. And then go back before that, the Roman warm period. And then the Holocene warm period. And then obviously this chart goes back to 15,000 years, and we know that, around 15,000 years ago we was in a glacial period. And I'm about to show you that on the next chart. But look at what they're saying. We have caused global warming. What, did the Romans cause global warming as well through their industrial revolution? Did the medieval warm period, did the people of that period cause global warming? Because look, temperatures are up at all these periods of time, yet they're only choosing the lowest on this top of that chart there out of all those: Holocene warm period, Roman warm period, medieval warm period. They're choosing this time, only this time, which is lower than all the others, and they're calling it present global warming. And of course you can see, 15,000 years ago we're in a glacial period. But what brought us out of the glacial period? Was that the Industrial Revolution? Thousands of years to come? Is this precog? Like that film? They're already, suggesting that, thousands of years down the road we're going to be guilty of a crime that we haven't yet committed. Yet we're already being charged for that crime. What I'm saying to you guys is that whoever's coming up with this rubbish is that they're clueless. All they can do is steal money. All they can do is lie. All they are is corrupt. More of us should get together and do something really about this. But until the awareness of it and the awareness of the crimes is made, more, to those people that are unaware of it, unless we do something, this is going to continue going on. And we need to, more than anything else, people need to be held accountable. We've got the least likely people running our world right now. If they cannot work out that a continuation of increasing technological sometimes I can't believe it. If we allow this technical advancement to carry on increasing, what's going to happen is that the population's going to carry on increasing, because that's been unchecked. I'm not one for, decreasing population. I'm just saying it's a problem. These three things are a problem. Then it's going to lead to people that ain't going to be able to get a job or have the availability of a job so that they can participate in the system. They can't see this, the United Nations, that what's happening and what we're merging towards is a catastrophe in its own right, caused by human beings and the capital system. Don't you understand that the capital system is collapsing before your eyes? Those little words on the banknotes, "I promise to pay the bearer," is no longer being honoured when the governments of the world are printing up cash left, right and centre. If they want to print up cash, tell them to print up cash and give us all some of it. Oh no, they won't do that, because no one will want to work, will they? But that's what they think. But you know what? People still would work. If they want to print up cash, then we don't really need to have any taxes anymore, because they could just print up what they wanted, the governments. But there's a snag. You can't do that, because you destroy the face of your banknotes. You shut down global trade. This is where we're merging to. We're heading towards this. These corrupt individuals at these organisations and the politicians at the moment don't care. They will make sure they kick the can further down the road so long as they maintain being on top of the greasy fat list with billions in their bank pockets or bank accounts. I'm just going to show you one more chart and we'll wrap it up here, but you know what I'm talking about, don't you guys? When is enough going to be enough? When have we had enough? And finally, the last chart that goes back 450,000 years. And here is a good record of the climate. And, the further we zoom out, the more we see clearly what is going on. We can see every 100,000 years this Earth gets warmer and cooler. It's called the interglacial and the glacial period. When we're in the glacial period, we're in cold season for around 90,000 years. And then when we're in the warmer times, as we are right now, just about to dive off, as you can see on the right hand side, we go into interglacials. I showed you the United Nations argument of 200 years. I showed you one for 15,000 years, which shows a bigger part of the picture. And now I'm showing you an even bigger part of the picture. And more importantly, look what rises first. Temperatures rise first, CO2 follows. Again, temperatures rise first, you can clearly see on this chart, and then CO2 rises. When temperatures fall, guess what happens? As you can see, CO2 falls. Human beings are not responsible for a slight incline in driving temperatures higher on this planet. It is the natural cycle of this world. And as you can see, or as I've showed you before, it's the Milankovitch cycle. It's the elliptical orbit that changes the climate. When we move further away from the heat source, like you in your living room, the further you are away from the fire or the radiator, the less you feel it. You feel the heat. And the Earth is no different. It's common sense. Kids would understand that. This is not what the United Nations and global governments are talking to us about. They're telling us a fairy tale. And that fairy tale is costing us a fortune. Some people are losing their houses because they can't cope with the rising costs of living. Some people are losing their lives. We need to expose them for their lives, unless otherwise nothing will ever change. And now why it is so important to keep probably one of the last observatories supported in this world. You got your opportunity down there to support. It's not mandatory, but you know what, guys, we should have more than what we are at the moment supporting this, because we are one of the last, and they don't like us already. YouTube this week have refused to allow us to put the adverts on. They said that we are spreading harmful content. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? It's just nothing but, you know, a living hell. It really is. They're accusing us of harmful content. My goodness me. Go and have a look at the state of the people that are standing in the queues waiting for just a little bit of extra food at the food banks. Go and have a look at these people that are sleeping in tents, because they're the ones that caused it to happen. You know, we've got every resource we need on this planet, only these greedy little pigs at the trough are keeping it all to themselves, and people are suffering all over this world as a result of that. It will get worse, guys. You know, we are entering a return to the glacial period, and what will hinder that is the migrating magnetic poles. You know, we will keep you informed on those things, and when we see BS like this coming from the United Nations, and I guarantee they've put that little banner below my video today, when we see that, we need to do something about it. That's where we need to start acting, because you can see they're already more proactive than a lot of us. They've put the banner beneath my video. They've refused me a chance to earn revenue by adverts so that I don't have to ask you guys for support. They're already at my door, guys. Guys, there's a link down there if you want to help support us. You know, it's for you guys, and it's for all the others as well. It's entirely up to you. Links there. I'll say what I usually do. You take care of yourselves. As always, bye for now.